Pushundi arrived under the banyan tree in a very blissful state because he was now going to narrate one of the most endearing episodes of the Ramayana. Mentally invoking Sri Ram, he began his story. Rishi Vishwamitra and the two princes spent a comfortable night in Mithila thanks to the wonderful arrangements made for them by Raja Janak. The next morning, the Rishi required flowers for his puja, and he sent Ram and Lakshman to pluck some in a beautiful garden close by. Now it so happened that Sita and her friends also arrived in the garden at the same time. Sita had been instructed by her mother to visit the temple of goddess Parvati located in that very garden. The young girls performed puja at the temple, each one praying for a worthy bridegroom. Then, while returning, one of the girls in Sita's entourage happened to wander away. Suddenly, this young girl who had wandered off in another direction spotted Ram and Lakshman. Visibly struck by their sight, she was overcome with some indescribable emotion, a mixture of joy, wonder, elation. Quickly turning around, she rushed back to her group. Her companions could see that something momentous had happened to her, but the young girl found herself at a complete loss for words. What was it, they all asked her with great concern. All that the young girl could utter was that she had seen two exceptionally striking young men, one dark and the other fair. Beyond that, she said, no description was possible. And why not? Because description is done by speech, and speech had no eyes. And the eyes that saw the two brothers had no speech. In other words, the youth were beyond description. Their presence had to be experienced to be understood, for it was a state beyond words. Sita was thrilled by the words of her friend. One of her group seemed to know that the two youth had arrived with Rishi Vishwamitra the previous day and had enchanted everyone with their demeanor and regal bearing. Sita's eyes suddenly ached to see the princes, even though she was shy by nature. Without even setting eyes on Ram, love had been kindled in her heart. The girl who had seen the princes was persuaded by the others to lead them all to the spot where she had set eyes on them. As the group of girls walked in the direction of Ram and Lakshman, Ram heard the tinkling sound of Sita's anklets and bangles slowly approaching. And by that sweet sound alone, even before setting eyes on her, love awakened in his heart. Turning in the direction of that very pleasing sound, Ram's eyes alighted on Sita, and they remained spellbound by her radiance, her grace, and beauty. Sita had not spotted Ram at that moment. When her eyes did finally fall on him, they lit up as though she had just rediscovered a lost treasure. Love flooded her whole being, and the prayer arose in her heart that he should become her bridegroom. No one around them noticed what had happened, and no one would have understood that the sacred flame of love that had been ignited in both those young, pure hearts was a love that was eternal, because Ram and Sita can never be separated. Although we speak of them as two entities, Ram and Sita are in fact one. They have always been one. This statement seemed to perplex the birds. How were Ram and Sita one? They seemed to say. Kakbhushundi was ever ready to explain. Ram is Bhagwan and Sita is his divine creative potential, his Shakti. Can your creative power be separate from you? Take the example of the little Koel here. She sings so beautifully. Can her song be separate from her? Of course not. No Koel, no song. Ram and Sita are inseparable, just as the wave cannot be separate from water. Take away the water, can a wave exist? Of course not. Ram and Sita are inseparable, just as a word cannot be separate from its meaning. If I say the word peacock, instantly the image of the peacock comes to your mind. If I say feather, immediately the image of a feather arises in your mind. That shows that the word and what it indicates cannot be separate. A word without any meaning is merely a sound. In this way, Ram and Sita appear to be different, and we speak of them as two individuals, but in fact they represent just one entity, Bhagwan and his inherent creative potential called Shakti or Maya. The birds understood this and bobbed their heads up and down with enthusiasm. Sita, continued Kakbhushundi, now became anxious about her father's vow of giving her in marriage only to someone who could break Lord Shiva's bow. She felt that Ram looked too young and gentle to be able to accomplish that. With this fear in mind, she hastened back to the temple of goddess Parvati to implore the goddess to fulfill her most fervent desire. As she prayed before the image of Parvati Devi, the garland adorning the goddess's statue slipped down and a smile appeared on the statue's face. It is believed that when a flower or garland that has been offered to the image of a deity falls of its own accord, it is a sign that the deity will grant the prayer of the worshipper. Sita was filled with joy. Then, to her great surprise, the statue began to speak. Parvati Devi assured Sita that what she longed for would come to pass. She would get the bridegroom that her heart yearned for. The goddess further assured Sita that Ram too desired her as his bride. Meanwhile, Ram and Lakshman, having collected their flowers, returned to Rishi Vishwamitra. Ram spoke very openly to the Rishi about all that had transpired in the garden, and he described the emotions that had awakened in his heart. He hid nothing from his Guru. The Guru accepted the flowers and blessed Ram, assuring him that what his heart longed for would indeed come to pass. The birds in the audience were in a state of bliss. The description of the love between Ram and Sita was so sattvic, so pure and beautiful, that it touched every avian heart. What was to follow was most exciting, for it pertained to the breaking of the formidable bow. And on that happy note, the evening storytelling session came to an end. The birds bowed down to Kakbhushundi and flew off for the night.